We're going to be testing out the Osmo Pocket 4 and comparing it to the iPhone 17 Pro, which is what I usually shoot with most of the time, but I know there's a lot of Osmo lovers out there. Let's see which one is better, especially for travel. So the Osmo really has some work to do here because I already have an iPhone in my pocket, so it needs to earn its place. What are the reasons most people go for it? Well, it's got a built-in gimbal, so the stabilization should be better. We're gonna be looking out for that. Also, it has a larger sensor, so we're hoping for slightly better image quality. And one of the things I really like is its integration with other DJI accessories, especially the new DJI Mic Mini. Much easier to connect than adding a transmitter to your iPhone. It directly talks to the Osmo. So let's start with that, because I'm using it right now. I've generally found the audio quality to be fantastic out of this. It also has internal recording, so you can have a bit of a backup, records 32-bit float, and has a very consistent, steady connection. This means if you get the package with the Mic Mini in it, you're really getting a complete solution. You don't need to add any accessories to your Pocket except for the Osmo. Both of these cameras are going to have very different lens options available. If you've got an iPhone, you'll have up to 4 different lenses available. That's a telephoto, an ultra-wide, a 1x, and a selfie camera on a Pro version of the iPhone, whereas on the Osmo, you've only got one sensor. However, it is a slightly larger, slightly higher quality sensor, so there should be a marginal improvement in terms of image quality here. For most of the samples in this video, I haven't been using other accessories like ND filters on either camera, but right now, I am using one of these little ones on the DJI, which is really nice that you can just magnetically pop this on, have ND, correct motion blur, whereas on the iPhone you'd need to add quite a few more accessories for that kind of quality. There's also this little magnetic wide angle adapter, and it just magnets onto the front of the Osmo, and then you see 0.75 times wider, which can be very helpful. However, it does add a little bit of distortion to the corners, so generally I'm not using it. I often just shoot with the regular 1x lens. I've got to be honest, the Osmo Pocket 3 wasn't my favorite. And a lot of that's because I usually shoot in a log profile. That's kind of the professional way that you're able to color grade it afterwards. iPhones have an amazing Apple log, now Apple Log 2. It's very rich for your color grading. You can do so much with it to make it look cinematic afterwards. The Osmo 3 only had D-Log M. Now, the Osmo Pocket 4 has real D-Log, like the best DJI cameras do. So you're able to apply LUTs to it and get beautiful cinematic footage with just a couple of clicks. This is a huge upgrade to me, and it means that you can basically match the colors between an iPhone Pro and the Osmo Pocket 4. By the way, if you want the best possible colors out of it, I do have LUTs available. There's a link in the description below. I'm gonna demonstrate a reason that I often prefer the iPhone. So Anya's recording me right now, and I'm just gonna move around, and you can kind of try to keep track of me, like as if this is real life. You're shooting a documentary, you don't always know which way I'm gonna go. It's pretty hard to just always have the subject exactly where you want to be using the basic hand controls. There is an active track, so let's turn that on. So now we've got active track on, and the Osmo is watching my face and trying to keep me in the center. So this can be a bit of an advantage, like especially if you're not looking at what you're doing, it's going to do a better job of keeping your subject in the focus of the frame. But still, there's something about the precise control of an iPhone where you can just move quickly that can be very helpful. It's 2 different ways of shooting depending what you're into. So here's a good use case for it. Anya right now is walking forward so she can look where she's going, but doesn't have to worry about the Osmo losing track. Whereas with the iPhone, you just kind of have to point it in the right direction, hope your subject is in there. This is really great, especially the more you're moving. The Osmo stands out for big, long tracking shots, whereas small movements might be a little bit better with the iPhone.
There is one shot that you can shoot on the Osmo and not the iPhone, and that is the spin shot. I'm not sure how often anybody needs this, but it is a good party trick that only the Osmo can do.
We're always trying to make our videos look as good as possible, but I want to share a little trick with you that I've been using to add a little spice to our work. And the craziest part is how easy this is to add. So let's start off by going into our edit. I'm going to delete the transitions, start from scratch. And all we need to do is edit 2 shots together that we want to match. They don't need to match initially. You can see these are a little different. I'm going to go to the last frame of the first shot, export a JPEG of that to my desktop, and then export the first frame of the next shot. Then we're going to head over to Higgsfield, who are sponsoring this video, so use the link in the description below. And up here in the top menu, we're going to click on Cinema Studio. You can see everything I've generated from previous videos. Maybe you recognize a few of these, but here's the one that we just made. And all we need to do is down here at the bottom, we are going to generate a whole video. We could generate images first, but we've already got ours. We're going to upload reference images, starting with the Osmo and then the iPhone. We'll describe the shot in really basic terms. And then we're going to double check our settings. You have a ton of control over what you can do here, including setting different genres for your shot, custom styles like lighting and camera movement, or actually defining exactly what the camera is if it's shot on film or digital. But our shot is so simple, we can leave all of that on auto. The only thing that I'm going to change is down here, I'm going to turn the duration all the way down to 4 seconds. Then click Generate. So the shot you saw in the video is actually my very first try at this generation. So all you have to do is download it, drag it into your timeline between the two shots. And here's a real trick. You want to trim the first and the last frame from the AI video. Then you get smooth playback all the way through, a seamless transition. So you can really go from any shot to another. Go check out Higgsfield and try it today.
There are two use cases where I think the Osmo really is better than the iPhone. One is when you're recording yourself. It doesn't have as many lenses, but you're always using the best lens on the Osmo. And you can see the screen whichever way it's pointing. So if you set it up to point it at yourself, it's really easy to monitor what you're doing using the best lens. Whereas with the iPhone, if you have it in selfie mode, you have a big screen to monitor, but you're not using the best lens available on the phone. So you don't get quite the same image quality. Here's a test comparing it to the image quality of the selfie camera on the iPhone 17. Then the other best use for the Osmo is big movements. That's when the gimbal is the most useful. If you're either running, going far, going fast, anything like that. It's not such a big deal when you're just carefully moving around. Then the iPhone can basically match its stability. But if you need to go a big distance quickly, the Osmo looks amazing. There's a particular genre of YouTube videos that I'm a big fan of, and that's walking tours, when people just take a camera and walk around a city, show you what's going on. I recorded one last year here of Feria de Sevilla on the iPhone 16 Pro. It's all shot in Apolog using Blackmagic camera, and I think it turned out great. It was really nice. But I do think the Osmo will take the crown for the best walking tour camera in the world. I mean, that's kind of niche and specific, but I know there are some of you out there that love your walking tours as much as I do. So if that's what you plan to shoot, the Osmo is definitely for you. This might seem like a small thing, but the fact that the Osmo comes with a little tabletop stand, like tripod feet, means you can just put it down when you want to record yourself, use the active track. I mean, the iPhone can't really do this. If you want to record yourself with the iPhone, you need to get a clamp. I know the perfect one, Stallman clamps works very well, but then you also have to have a tripod and just a bit more of a setup to really put it in a stable place. The Osmo, I've usually got it in this full kit that you can just pick it up, walk around, very convenient. One feature both of these cameras have that I wish every camera had is built-in internal storage. Now, your iPhone has as many gigabytes as you bought, but what's really great is the Osmo having an additional 100 gigs plus the micro SD slot. And the Osmo Pocket 3 had nothing built into it, so it's like you're getting a free big memory card that's always available. I haven't even put an SD card into it yet. It is so helpful. Every single camera needs to have internal storage. I'm getting used to it. It drives me crazy when it's not available. Both of these cameras have lots of dynamic range. The Osmo is rated up to 14 stops. But when you want to adjust exposure, I wish it was slightly easier because you do have to open up the side menu, so it's hard to do while you're recording, whereas the iPhone, you just tap the screen, drag up and down. I find that to be a little quicker to access. At the end of the day, I'm not sure if this is a choice between if you're going to buy a phone or an Osmo. You probably already have the phone. It's like, do you want to add the Osmo to your repertoire? Is it worth carrying around? I think it's an amazing camera. It does do a great job. Since I usually already have a bigger camera, the Pocket 4 is gonna be my go-to vlogging camera. I really think it's the best you can choose for that use case. Whereas my iPhone will probably continue to be what I put on a tripod more often. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Is it gonna keep tracking me? How far is it gonna go? Oh, look at this thing. Think I can lose it behind this bush?